Hello everyone and welcome to the most magical stream in the community. That's my stream actually. Mech Merlin's build streams on Saturdays. Today we are doing a drop alt. Actually one of the first times I'm ever building this board. It's not my first drop board, but it's my first high profile one. So let's see who is here today. Who is here? I see a Tony Jabrone. Who else? Crying King, Peter Poppins, Chelnacook, DS Dylan Dog, Sounds Like Rain, and Midgie Bacon. Thanks guys for joining in. So you might be noticing things are a little different here. I've repositioned my microphone. I got this new mic stand that's hopefully gonna work out today. We'll see. I got it for like 35 bucks. It's a replacement for my Rode arm. I used to have a Rode PSA 1 that was linked over here, but I was noticing that the mic arm that I had for this camera was starting to sag because this camera's getting a little heavier than usual. So I'm like, okay, need to swap those around. And yeah, hopefully this one will stand the test of time. We'll see. All right, before we get started, the most important question: what is Merlin drinking? You can access that at any time by doing the !drink command. And as usual, drinking my Honest Tea organic honey green tea. Oh yeah, forgot to mention. Also, kind of moved my screens around here and all of my windows. I've been noticing as I rewatch my streams, I'm always looking that way towards the chat whenever I'm talking with people. So I relocated the windows to have the chat right in front of me. So hopefully when I'm reading the chat, it's more like I'm looking at you guys rather than somewhere else, like, hey, what's up guys? How you doing today? You know? So yeah, hopefully that improves things a little better. And yeah, here we go. Let's get this out of the way and let's get some music on. Boom. Play. Okay, there we go. Perfect. All right. This is the drop alt. The drop alt, if you guys remember, is basically Drop's own take on mechanical keyboards. They try to make them a little bit more customizable, a little bit more enthusiast friendly, and for the most part they've all got QMK. Unfortunately no VIA quite yet, but we'll see if they change things up. Who knows? Alright, this is another customer build. I know people are asking, so what do you mean by build, Merlin? Isn't that just a hot swap board? Well, yes it is, but the customer has also asked me to lube a bunch of switches, so that is what I have done. Check it out. But yeah, if you never bought a drop alt before, this is how it comes in. It comes in a nice little box here within a shipping container, of course. The top has some kind of foam pad. Let's see. Little instruction manual here. Initial startup, USB hub functionality. It's got a warranty, which actually most custom keyboards don't even come with a warranty, so I guess that's fairly important. It's got a default hotkeys list, all that good stuff. See that? Basically comes like this. Not bad, not bad. See, I see a couple people messaging. Lax's Dragneal, Function, thanks for joining in, guys. Been building lots of black keyboards lately. Check it out. So many holes, it's like a Swiss cheese bottom. It's got all the screws in there. Very interesting. But if you guys can see, this is actually an integrated plate board. It's more integrated than their low profile variants. Pretty interesting, if I say so myself. USB-C port. In fact, it's a USB-C hub, if I'm not mistaken. Tony Jerome says, how's the weight feel? See, compared with the KBD75, KBD75 fully built still feels heavier, so we'll see how this feels once I've built it. Is the alt alu? Yes, it is. It's definitely aluminum. Yeah, not bad. One thing I'm seeing is it is all plate mount stabs. It's funny because the customer sent me additional plate mount stabs. I wonder if it's because these are no names and these look to be plate mount stabilizers for Cherry MX keyboards. So potentially these are better. We'll see. We shall see. Oh guys, not sure if you can see it, but if you look closely at the PCB, you can see the mess of their traces. You can see it all over the place. See, little Tunchi says, was almost bought this alt, but need the F-Row to showcase my artisans. That's true. Zoombolt says, Merlin was told to ask you about firmware flashing. Would you happen to know if I can flash TX Suo PCB to QMK? Yes, you can, but some work still has to be done on it. Emil says, Input Club PCB quality, indeed. But yeah, if you guys are interested in this board, let's see. Let's bring up the page real quick. Here we go. Here we go. There we go. This is available on drop, of course, for 230 bucks. I believe the low profile variant sells for 180. You have a choice between Halo Trues, Kaihua Box White, MX Blue RGB, Halo True, 60G, and the Kaihua Box White Clicky and MX Blue RGB Clicky. And here's the funny thing. Check it out. Drops Skylight series. You can save $5 if you buy it in tandem with it. I think these are just basic OEM caps from the looks of it. Yeah, these look just like basic ones. See, Zoom Walt says, can I PM you later to discuss what needs to be done to flash the board? It requires a lot of programming. That's what's needed. Alright, let's get back to it. Alright, first things first, let's go put this away. We are going to lube the stabilizers real quick. Sounds like Rain said it's pricey for what you can get for the same or just a little more. That's very true. Once we open up the board, you guys can see all of the differences in it. But yeah, let's get to lubing all these stabilizers first. I like to lube my stabilizers using 205G0 for the housing and Permatex dielectric grease for the actual wire. Look at all this. Looks like we got some clipping to do as well. So technically you don't really need to clip plate mount stabs, because this bottom part won't actually hit the PCB. But, you know, if you ever want to salvage these stems for your regular PCB mount or like screw-ins, you would prefer that they have them clipped off already. So I'm just gonna clip them off, just because of force of habit. We're just gonna clip off all of these guys. It's been a while since I've clipped stabilizers. Just because if you buy like Durox and Everglides, you don't have to do any of this. Kind of spoiled us. Unicorn says hello to you too. We are just clipping stabilizers at this point. And I know I always jinx myself when I say this, but this should be a relatively quick build. You guys caught my Thursday build of the KBD 75. A build that was supposed to take an hour and a half took just about 3 hours. Elmo says, yeah, just checked. It's not on QMK yet, and the chip is still not supported by GBOS. Thanks for checking that out for me. You don't think putting Suo on a PCB, Suo on QMK is an easy task. That's what I anticipated. Tony says, have you built a Lily 58 at all? I don't even know what a Lily 58 is. See, Zoom says, why do people clip stabs? If you don't clip stabs, here, let's see if I can show this to you guys. There we go. You'll see that it's got four legs on it, right? 2 of the legs tend to come into contact with your PCB. And when you do that, whenever you bottom out, it causes it to feel really mushy. So if you like mushy, then you don't need to clip it, but in my experience, most people don't like mushy. Elmo says, I tried porting Suo. I tried porting Suo too, but it was... I was only given like 2 weeks to do it, so it took me like 2 weeks just to trace it, because I couldn't figure out what the microcontroller was. So I was like, alright buddy, I'll just send it off to you, since you want to build your board. But yeah, if you pretty much buy any stabilizers that are not Cherry or GMK branded, you don't actually have to clip any of these. Did I try the alpacas yet? Yeah, I've got alpacas in my Xeno. I think alpacas are a little too light for me, which is funny, because alpacas are 62G. And Gateron Silk Yellows are 63.5. I prefer those silk yellows, and I guess I just didn't realize how much 1.5 grams would make. Who knows? Who knows? I do tend to gravitate towards heavier switches, so that might play a factor, but 1.5G, I'm like, my fingers are not that sensitive. Anyone else think the drop keyboards are priced too high considering their quality? I do. How heavy do you go on weights? I think my favorite linear weight for like an all-purpose kind of deal is currently at 70G. So I greatly prefer Gateron Blacks, Gateron Black Inks, and I actually like the cream weight as well. Those are all roughly 70G. Okay, time to start lubing. Yeah, all the switches I like right now are linear. Not big on the tactile these days. I feel like if I had to pick a tactile switch right now, I'd probably be around the 65G. Would not go heavier than 65, to be honest. Like 67's fine, but I feel like on a longer typing day, 67G tends to wear me out. Unless it's silent. because the dampeners on like a silent switch help soften out that bottom out. Oh my gosh, another one. What lube is that? And where did you get your lube applicator? This is just a paintbrush. This is 205G0, which is from Project Keyboards. And I just bought this off of Amazon, to be honest. Nothing special, just looked for the smallest paintbrush I could find. Oop, just bumped into my mic. Tends to happen when I'm wearing like a hat this size. Kyle says, Merlin, thank you for answering my questions on Novelkeys on Discord. Didn't even know you had a Twitch. I do. Kyle, thanks for following. And I noticed that It's Red TV also followed. Thanks, guys. If you've never built a keyboard before, the community is fairly divided as to what lube to use for stabilizers. I believe there are 3 camps. There's a camp that prefers 205G0 across the whole thing, housings and the wire. There's another camp that prefers dielectric grease over the whole thing, housing and wires. And the third camp is a combination of the two. I prefer 205G0 on the housing and Permatex dielectric grease on the actual wire. Tony says I dielectric it all. See, Designation Rock says, Merlin, you port QMK PCBs to VIA and designed a GMK set. I think right now I don't know how to design a PCB. Well, I can design a PCB, I just don't know how to do like the CAD portion of it, where you're placing all of the different components and making sure that the PCB is the correct size, all that stuff. But who knows? Maybe by the end of the year I will learn. Zoomwalt says, another dumb question. The TX spring oil, I think you called it paraffin oil. Do people oil the springs in addition to applying the 205G0 lube to the housing? I'm assuming you're speaking about regular switches, and the answer is yes. Some people put oil, some people just lube it with 205G0. I tend to do either of those two, depending on what I've got on my workstation here. You're learning the PCB design now. The hardest part is making it look pretty. Yeah, absolutely. I used to work for a company that designed multiple layer PCBs, and finding a person who could actually route the traces correctly was very, very difficult to do. It's like a art form of sorts. Like when our main guy retired, he like had to train two or three other people just to take over his part of the entire job. Like, I think most PCBs are only 2 layers. You wish there were open source PCB designs like the GH60? Well, a lot of people have open source theirs, like IO3, I believe. IO3. I think Heine's open sourced some of his designs, and so has Gondolindrum. In fact, I think all of Gondolindrum's designs are like open source. That's like a requirement if you want him to design a PCB. Haven't seen 2+ layer PCBs for keyboards yet. I don't think there's an actual use for it. Neurotical says good afternoon. Good afternoon to you too. How are you on this fine Saturday afternoon? More LEDs. I've seen like companies like Vortex for their newer pokers, instead of having multiple layered PCBs, they have multiple PCBs. Still no VIA for alt, says Neurotical. Yes, no VIA for alt because the alt doesn't have a microcontroller that has an EEPROM. Having an EEPROM is a requirement for VIA. Enjoying this amazing weather in Seattle. Well, we are back to the usual weather. Sounds like Rain says, a what? I don't know what you are referring to. I just dropped it. He says, never mind. Okay. Well, if you remember what it is, just let me know. Twitchy Twitch 2020 has followed. Thanks, man. So has Monito Amano. Thanks for following, guys. Alright, I think these have enough lube on all of them. Oh wait, there's one more. One more left. We can actually take apart the keyboard and start putting this in. A lot of people say that PCB mount and like screw-ins sound a lot better than plate mount and that they feel better. I can agree with the feel better part, but it's only minimally. In terms of sound, you can't actually tell the difference. I've done this test a few times, and each and every time people can't determine which one is the plate and which one is the PCB. Like this blind test that I do, I basically just don't show what I'm typing on. I just bring my microphone down to whatever keyboard I've got, and I'm like, alright guys, listen to keyboard A. And they trigger one of the stabilized keys. Then I'm like, listen to keyboard B. And then I have people vote on it. And so far no one's gotten it completely right. Alright. So you just double check, make sure I've got enough lube on all these guys. And then once that's done, we can put all the stabs in. Stab wires, I mean. Korean Guru subscribed with Twitch Prime. Thank you so much. You're new to the hobby, officially a degen now. Well, everyone's got to start somewhere, you know? Got to start on a poker, start on a GMMK, who knows? Who knows? Alright, I think I can be done with my 205G0, I'll go put that away. Neurotical has built 2 alts now, and the MK Ultra plate and case foam made a significant difference in sound. Ah, good to know. Good to know. Paul Cheston says, do you build an alt? Yeah, you do. You still have to build it. Endgame FYI says hi hi hi. Or he he, I guess. If you're doing what Olivia does. One stab done. Oh, that's a little bit too much lube. Let me grab another brush, brush some of that off. There we go. That's better. Put that on the side for now. I'm gonna reuse that lube. Guess if we're gonna argue semantics, maybe assemble would be a better word. Assemble rather than build. I guess one could argue that soldering is also a form of assembling. Semantics, you know. So I guess it's like when people say they are programming their keyboard when in fact all they're doing is changing the key map. Alright, got the backspace, enter, left shift. What's next? It's gonna be the space bar. Korean Guru says favorite tactile switches currently. None actually. For the last year, or I guess a year and a couple months now, I've been a big fan of linear switches. So all boards that I've built for myself have utilized linear switches. It's been a while since I've built a tactile board for anyone, actually. The linear gang, rise up, I know, right? Though, to be honest, it's like once you get one good linear, everything else is just like a remix. It's like all of the JWK recolors. Alpacas, mauves, all that. Like they all feel the same except for like the spring weight. Whereas when it comes to like tactile switches, there are different levels of tactility. For a linear, it's just, is it smooth or not smooth? And if it's not smooth, it's probably not a good switch. Tony says, I really want to try some linears. I would recommend trying Gateron yellows as a good starting point. Silver Ductate said, is it normal if I feel like I need to often relube stabs if I use dielectric? I've read that if you use dielectric grease just on its own, and you travel frequently, people who have brought their boards on a plane and like checked them in have noticed that the stabilizers function differently once they get back to like normal temperature. So maybe there's something in your environment that's causing your dielectric grease to break down, which I don't know. I feel that's kind of hard to explain. Maybe it's elevation levels. Maybe I have no clue. All right, let's go put away some of this lubing equipment and this clipping equipment so we can open up this board. All right. Let's put the stabs on the side here. I realize I have got quite some grease on my hands, so let me just wipe that off really quick. Alright, I'm back. Yeah, I just noticed that with dielectric grease, or just grease in general, when you're holding like a anodized board, or basically any colored board, it tends to shine it a bit, which is why I'd prefer to not deal with that. There we go. Time to open it from the back. Looks like they're all just Phillips heads. Nothing special there. Nothing too special. Okay, let's do this. As I mentioned earlier, this is a integrated plate board. So there's no actual plate in here. The plate is just aluminum. Very curious how this all goes together. So typically an integrated plate will give you a stiffer feel. I'd say an integrated plate, having an integrated plate would be similar to having a stainless steel plate in a tray mount board. Korean Guru says, stupid question, but could you damage a PCB if you ship a keyboard with lubed switches and stabs? I feel like the damage level would be the same, just because most boards are shipped with lubed switches and stabs. Like if you look at all of the OEM boards have some lube on each of their stabs, and most switches actually have some degree of factory lube. Alright, let's see how this guy looks. So let's open him from the top like that. Go. See that? That's what the bottom looks like, and I think we've got room to put some foam in there, so that's what we'll do. That's pretty thick. Pretty thick bottom plate. See if we can pull this off really quick. Is there anything actually holding in this acrylic piece? Doesn't look to be so. Just on there pretty tight. Let's not crack it, Merlin. Typically speaking, you're not even supposed to like take it off in order to do like the hot swap. So maybe that's why. It almost seems like it's glued in. Oh, I see now. It's not really glued in, it's just... There are these little tabs which keep it in place. Just have to gently pry them off and we'll be good. And there we go, it's off. just gonna put this back in its box. And there's the PCB. Is the PCB actually screwed in? Or is it just... Yeah, it seems like it's just held in place with friction. There we go, yeah. Here, let's take a look at this PCB while we're at it. Look at that. That should give you a better idea of how poorly this board is routed. And by routed, I mean take a look at all these little lines that are going through the PCB. These are all the connections from switch to switch, or switch to microcontroller, all that good stuff, you know? All of that, typically speaking, if you are a decent PCB designer, you'll make this look really, really pretty. But every tool that you use out there has an auto route function, which once you press it, it will not necessarily find the most efficient or the most pretty way from switch to switch, but it'll just use whatever. Antoine says can't see it. Yeah, I know. Here, let's see if I can lower my brightness a little bit. Yeah, it's still pretty hard to see. There. Yeah, the white traces are kind of hard to see. Yeah, not sure if the cam can pick it up. Oh, there we go. You can see it at the very top there. There's a reason why they are not well seen. It's because they're ugly. Here, wonder if you can see it on the back. Either way, it is bad tracing. It is bad tracing, so not a good way to do things here. But here we go. This is your integrated plate. By integrated, I mean that the plate is connected to the top half of the case. Usually, something like this can be seen during a top mount, where you take the plate and you screw it into the top half of the case. By integrated, it's actually part of the case. You cannot remove this, you cannot change this. Here, let's pop these open. Let's remove these old stabs and put the new ones in. If you have never undone any plate mount stabs before, the best way to do them is to find the clip on the back here, push back on it, and then pry it open with your finger. Because it takes a little finesse. Oh, actually, that came out just like that. Man. Actually, another way to do it is do it from the back. There we go. We got it. But what I'm doing is I'm pushing the tab towards the stabilizer, and I'm pushing on the back as well, just to pop it out. Takes some time. Come on. Pop out now, will you? Try it on another one. There we go. Some are easier to pop out than others, like that one, see? That one just popped out just like that. But this guy's pretty stubborn. Oh, there we go. Guess I just had to try a little harder. Throw him out. It's funny, these all look partially lubed, but not clipped. Yeah, these are all partially lubed, but not clipped. One more set, and we should be good. There. There we go. Yay! We got it. We got it. Alright. So now we just have to put the new stabs in. The way you want to do that is actually taking this wire. So assume that you've already got it built like this. You take the wire and you slide it. You slide it under the plate first, from the top. I know it's kind of counterintuitive like that. So you end up like this. So you end up with something like that. What's next is then you need to clip the stabilizers in. So find a way to mount it first. And once you've properly mounted it, you gotta clip them in. There we go. And they should just snap right in. Snap, snap, snap. Korean Guru says, looks like an abstract painting. Guess you're talking about the PCB and the wonderful routing that it had. Of course, I'm kidding. There's no wonderful routing. I think if you guys want to see a good example of beautiful routing, try buying one of the Wilbur PCBs. Those are done very well. It's like a work of art. I've actually told Wilbur sometime that, hey, if you have any broken PCBs, just send them my way. I'd love to just display them. What are my impressions of the keyboard so far? Right now, without typing on it, I don't think I can give a fairly accurate representation, but the anodization looks pretty good. I'm not too big a fan of integrated plate boards, but out of any integrated plate board I've seen, this seems to be better thought out, to be honest. Most integrated plate boards just have this entire portion flat, but you can see there's a little rest here for the PCB. This prevents the PCB from going too close to the actual plate, because I guess it adds the correct amount of like spacing. However, I would prefer that they just let you screw in the PCB. That would make things easier. Okay, well, I guess before we do anything, let's actually check that the PCB works. Alright, let's grab an extra USB-C cable. Extra USB-C cable, hooray. Alright. And before I plug it in, let's read the instructions really quick. Not sure if they're both USB-C ports or one of them is the hub. Here we go. Initial startup. Either USB-C port on the alt can be used to connect your keyboard to your computer. Perfect. I don't need to worry about it. There we go, plugging it in. And voila. Look at all those underglow LEDs lighting up. This is also a per key in-switch RGB PCB. And of course you guys can't see it. Let me lower the lights a bit. There we go. Look at all that. So pretty. Perfect. So we can assume that all the lights are working as intended. There we go. Next up, we need to check that all of the switches actually work. Let me bring up my lights again. There we go. Okay, let's bring up my favorite tool here. Hold on. Let me... Come on. Show up on screen. There we go. There we go. Okay. Nope. That's not what I wanted. I want this. How's that? That pick that up? No, it's not showing up. Here. Okay, let's just bring this over here. And that should do the trick. Yes, there we go. Okay. So the way to do this is to take a tweezer and please, please, please do not take your tweezer and plug it into where your switches will go. That's just gonna kill it. You know, that's just gonna kill it. What you want to actually do is put your board on its back so you can see all of the Kale hot swap sockets, and then use your tweezer and gently short each section here. So let's start from, actually, let's go reset this again so everything's nice and clear. Once it's reset, we can start from, I believe this is the escape key. Actually, just realized it's not going to open wide enough, so use like a wire like so. This should be better. There we go, escape, perfect. Come on. Always check your PCB before you build, even if you have a hot swap. Actually, if you guys ever buy a brand new PCB, always make sure that it works. So you can send it back right away if you find anything wrong with it. Because some vendors will be like, oh, you already built your board. Maybe it's your soldering that broke it. Or like if it's like a hot swap board, perhaps the vendor will say, oh, that's because you did not put your switch in properly and the hot swap socket broke. So you want to absolutely test it before you do anything. And hot swap sockets breaking is a very real possibility on a board like this. You got to be absolutely careful. I'm just noticing that this PCB has a reset button right there. It's pretty cool. So far, so good. Oh wait, shift key. Yeah. There we go. What about you? You're not triggering. You are probably the function key. But we'll get back to you in just a bit. Okay. So the way to check your function key is you're actually going to simulate holding it down. So here, let me just use like a switch opener here to do it. We are going to hold down this guy right here. Keep our lead there, and then I'm gonna assume one of the keys on the num row will actually. There we go, F8, perfect. Everything works as intended. Hooray, huzzah! Mr. Pirulito says, I hate that type of vendor. What does it actually mean when a key shows red here? Okay, so what QMK configurator test mode does is it checks for key chatter. So key chatter happens, for example, when you take your switch and you press it, right? And sometimes you press it and multiple keystrokes occur. Like if this was the T key, you'd press it and you'd see like 5 T's show up. That is like 95% of that's like 95% of the time that is a problem with the switch itself. Like something with the contacts probably. Something's like bent inside, something's too close, so that whenever you press it, multiple key presses occur. When you're testing it with just a wire, right, you are simulating the contents of a switch. So the only way you can absolutely do that is if your hands don't shake at all. So when it turns red during a test like this, it means my hand shook. So nothing to be too concerned about. Once you put a switch there and it still turns red, that's when you need to be concerned. All right, let's put this board together. Let me just put stuff away, give myself some room here. Okay, all right, PCB. PCB. So as I said earlier, it is actually very easy to break these hot swap sockets. The best way to do this is to actually support the back of the socket as you put the switch in place. So the best way to do this, especially on an integrated plate, is to screw in the PCBs first. I mean, not screw in the PCB, but screw in the PCB to the integrated plate. This will give us a little bit more leverage and all that. So we're just gonna screw in some of these guys, not all of them, because I'm lazy. And I just realized that doesn't even screw all the way in, so never mind, let's not do that. Let's not do that. Okay, to give myself more leverage, I should probably put this guy in. Will that even give me room for the... That will help me somewhat, but not all the way. Let's just ignore that. Let's not do that. John HB Lee says, so you're building a hot swap build, anything unique? Foam, different allo case? No, it's not. It's just a regular drop alt case. But I will be putting foam in it. The customer has opted to do Gateron yellows, and this one is not your typical Gateron yellow. This one has the clear top and the white bottom. Usually I recommend people to get the milky top and the black bottom, as that's the best combination. Customer has also asked me to lube these with 205G0, so I've done that for the housing and the slider, and the spring is lubed with paraffin oil. So I've eliminated all of the spring pings, and now it's a lot smoother than a stock Gateron yellow. Alright. Zoomwalt, you can hit up kblube.com if you actually... He's actually one of my sponsors on this channel. I think he just got a bunch in. Here, let's actually... There we go. You get 5% off your order if you use my discount code. Alright. One thing about the drop alt. This PCB does not support PCB mount, which makes it harder to actually put these switches in. So I have to be extra careful when I'm doing this. Which switches has that 75%? It's that's 75% what? Alright. Whew. I can... Yeah, that's definitely not... It's not secure. Every time I put a switch in, I feel that the whole PCB rattles. Gotta be extra careful here, guys. Let's hold the back of the socket. So you push the switch through. You gotta make sure that the... Oh man, I feel like that... I already screwed up there. That switch didn't go all the way through. Korean Guru says he's talking about your 75%. Oh, this one in front of me, the KBD 75. The KBD 75 in front of me is using a mixture of Securios and Roselios. It is a silent switch. Yep, see that? I bent that leg, so I gotta be extra careful. Extra careful. You know what? I'm just gonna use a different one. I'll be more careful with the legs bending this time. Yep, that one went through. Thing with hot swaps. Worst case though is if you take your hot swap and the leg just barely makes it through but bends halfway in, because what that's gonna do is screw up the actual mechanism inside. So while you're testing this, you are gonna test that the socket works, but if the switch isn't actually touching the socket, then you're pretty screwed there too. see, Garlic says, Merlin, when buying a board, do you recommend extra PCBs? I would recommend extra PCBs if it is a vendor you are not familiar with. Like in my experience, a lot of vendors, especially here in the United States, if you get a group buy board that is broken or dies after a few months, usually they are able to help you or point you in the wrong direction. But group buys that are held elsewhere tend to have much more difficulty in that. Also, if for example, if you bought a board that uses a Wilbur PCB and your PCB died, you'll know that Wilbur can take care of you, and you'll know that these PCBs will come back in stock. But yeah, I guess short answer, depends on who the PCB designer is. And I think I'm gonna have to give up on this guy too. He keeps bending. Garlic says hot swap and soldered virgin extra PCB. You mean you're buying 2 PCBs for the board? Sure, if that's what you want to do. Do you guys have a recommended switch opener? Basically, these are really the only switch openers around. My issue. Oh, sorry, you said switch opener. I use Keebio switch openers, mainly because he's from Washington State, and I'm from Washington State. I like to support all my local Washington buddies. Just a few more and we can just start popping all of these in one by one really easily. But for now, just gonna make sure all of the anchor points are in place. Never done a build before. It is fun. It is fun. One reason why I opened up all of my commissions, because I've noticed that as much as I love owning boards, I actually enjoy building them more. I find it really fun to do. It's kind of relaxing for me, to be honest. It's relaxing until something wrong happens, of course. Like, if you guys caught my Thursday stream, this KBD 75 here is probably one of my most frustrating builds. Okay, I think I've got enough anchor points in, but to be safe, let me put one in this corner. Let's do two more, just to be absolutely safe. I don't want to have to pull out any more switches. Yeah, it's a lot harder to pull out switches on an integrated plate board. Sometimes you want that plate to bend so that you can get stuff out easier. But on an integrated plate board, it just doesn't bend. Okay, I believe I've got all of the anchor points in. So at this point, I'm just gonna use my desk as the flat surface. And then I'm just gonna use it to support all the hot swap sockets like that. See, there's nothing gonna support it better than my flat desk. And at this point, I can just start plugging these in, assuming I keep all the legs straight. So here goes. Oh, that one's not straight. Lubing some milk blacks while I watch those bacon and tuna. Milk blacks are some of my favorite switches, and I hope you like them as much as I do. It's funny because there was a point where I did not like milk blacks. You got them after seeing one of my builds, and it's probably one of the KBD67 builds. That's what inspired me to like get them too. Keep in mind they are heavier than you might be used to. You guys are noticing I'm not putting them quite sequentially just yet, because I am still a little bit concerned about hot swap sockets. If you guys watch my channel often, you'll know I am a tiny bit paranoid about things like these. So I tend to go to an extreme when putting in switches. Especially if it's a customer board. With my boards, I've noticed that I tend to be less careful. Because I'm like, oh, if I mess it up, I know how to fix it. No trouble there. And that guy has a leg that is completely bent. We will put him away. I think if you guys are new to the community, I always recommend to own at least one hot swap board in the layout that you like the most. Because this will allow you to try all of the new switches that like keep coming out. I feel like every month we have 2 new switches. It's kind of insane, to be honest. Notice that we have a oversaturation of different types of products. We just can't seem to keep a good quantity of those products for those people who want them. It's almost like we've spread ourselves way too thin. Mr. Pirulito says, are you going to buy the Kiwi switches? No, I'm not. I'm not going to buy any switches for a while. I recently just bought a bunch of alpacas and a bunch of Gaterons, so I think I am good for a good number of builds. No need to worry about that. What are the yellows lubed with? These yellows are lubed with 205G0, and the spring is lubed with TX oil, also known as paraffin oil. Yeah, if you guys don't know what that is, that's just lamp oil. So wander into your Home Depot or Fred Meyer even. Fred Meyer, Safeway. They've got lamp oil. Which is funny because I don't know anyone like who's got a lamp still. Bought some TX springs with the oil rack thing yesterday. Nice. Yeah, if you ever run out of that oil, just get paraffin oil. Yeah, that guy keeps bending. Let's put him away. Finally caught one of these as a better player. Well, thanks for joining in. We appreciate all the support. Where can you get them rather after I run out? The oil? It's just paraffin oil, also known as lamp oil. So wherever you can get that stuff. Here in the United States, I've seen it at Home Depot, Fred Meyer, Safeway, Big Five Sporting Goods, I guess. How's the drop alt HP? Well, it's not that they have issues per se. It's just that they're rather expensive for what you get. It's kind of like a low effort board from Drop, because you know people will buy them. It's a fairly decent looking high profile, so people will buy these boards. I think some of the issues people like to complain about is that the LED is north facing, because it's a very gamer type board, I'd say. North facing LED, so you can't quite use Cherry MX, or I mean Cherry profiled keycaps on it very well. It's also an integrated plate, which can cause it to feel a little stiffer than usual. Gondo says, man, it's so sad they don't sell just a drop alt case. Gondo, I was just talking about you earlier. Someone was asking about PCB designers, and I said, oh yeah, Gondo Lindrum. Okay, let's see. I ended up with a few switches that were bent. Let's find the one with the least bent and then use it for the last switch here. Gondo says, that's me, I'm the PCB dude. Dude, I am waiting for that 60%. Okay, final switch is in, and boom. Okay, just to make sure I did not screw up any of the legs, I'm gonna do one more test. One more test. Plug it in. Everything lights up still, right? Everything still lights up. Perfect. Let's see, where's my QMK tester here? Okay. Here we go. So far, so good. Uh-oh, caps lock. Oh, there we go, there we go, there we go. Whew. Yeah, that's the function key. Yep, function key works. Everything works, hooray! Awesome, we can actually put this board together. Zark says, I really want to deprecate the drop boards from QMK. Oof. Alright, as I was mentioning earlier, this board actually seems to have enough space on the bottom to put some foam in. So that is exactly what we're gonna do. I'm probably gonna make the foam fit in this portion right here. There you go. This is the bottom half right there. So we have a little bit of room from where the acrylic piece is, or from the PCB to the bottom of this. So let's just put some foam in there, and hopefully it turns out pretty good. I use the most magical foam in the community. Don't let anyone convince you otherwise. And why is it magic? It's because it says so. It says so right there. Magic cover. Magic cover. It's the most magical foam. So we're just gonna open this one up and cut ourselves some foam here. Let's affix this properly first. We're doing all the little tabs. There we go. Looks good. And I have a feeling I put it in the wrong way. Did I do it the wrong way? Yep, I did it the wrong way. Can I turn the music down slightly? Sure. Here, it needs to go on the other way because the screw holes aren't lining up. Swap it around. And actually no, just that. There we go, much better. Much better. All the screws are lined up. Okay, we're gonna put the foam just around this area over here. If it's the same as the control, make sure the magnets go in first. It is not the same as it is not the same as the control. Look, there's the bottom plate. Check it out. That's it. That's all there is to it. Fairly basic board, to be honest. You're gonna put some foam in. I don't think I am artistic enough to actually cut foam that will form fit this, but I'm gonna try my best. I'm gonna try my best here. Maybe I'll just do it in like segments. Yeah, let's just do it in segments. Alright. Hey, if you guys can't find any of this foam, the Husky branded foam from Home Depot works just as well. But of course, it just won't sound as good as Magic Foam, of course. There we go. That's one piece right there. A little bit too thick there. In case you guys are wondering why I'm doing this, foam helps absorb some of the vibrations that are prevalent on this board. So what typically happens is that spring ping, which occurs when you don't oil your springs, those vibrations will travel to the plate, and then as that plate vibrates, it will cause a particularly hollow board to ping a lot and to vibrate a lot. That is not something you want. Zark, you obviously haven't watched enough of my streams. Saturdays I actually have different music depending, but every day has a different sound. A better player says, never really liked the idea of sticking foam into my keyboards. How much does it really affect the sounds? I think I just explained that. Yeah, it will get rid of the unwanted reverberations. And I just realized I'm actually covering up the reset key. So let me cut a hole for that. Zark, I didn't know that having channel points makes it so you can see exactly what music that I have. Especially if I'm running it locally. Is sorbethane overrated? It is definitely the best of the foam methods. It will absorb the most, it's highly rated, it dampens a lot of vibrations. The problem is, in terms of what we're doing here, it'll probably give you 1% improvement or not at all for about 4 times the price. Like this whole roll that I got here, I bought this whole thing for about $7. Sorbethane for this amount would probably cost you 80 or so. Huh. There we go. I'm just putting all these little pieces here. Hopefully this will actually make a difference. There. All right. I was gonna put some on top here as well, but if I did that, I would block some of the RGBs. So I think I'm gonna stop at this. Hopefully this will be good. Make sure I'm not covering any other RGBs, because RGBs are the most important part. Looks like I have a sensor that's beeping in the living room. Has anyone tried using Silly Putty as a sound dampener? No, no one has. But please write back if you do. All right, I think that should be good. That sensor is annoying. Okay, so we've got this carbon monoxide alarm that, typically speaking, carbon monoxide alarms last anywhere from 5 to 10 years. more often than not just 5 years, and once it gets close to that 5-year mark, it starts emitting, hey, time to change. So I'm gonna beep like this random sequence. So it did that a few nights ago, so I bought one, and now it's done it 3 times in the last 20 minutes. So I think after the stream, I'm gonna have to replace that sensor. And there it goes again. Okay. Annoying. Well, at least it didn't like start beeping in the middle of the night. 'Cause that would be hella annoying. Could it be the battery is empty? That's what I initially thought a few days ago. So I actually put new batteries in it. But after some research, like nope, it's over 5 years old. Maybe I'm getting carbon monoxide poisoning right now. If that was the case, it would emit a different beep. It would go beep at 85 dB according to the spec chart. So far so good. Can you guys actually hear it? Because it just went again. Yeah, carbon monoxide is a very serious thing. Make sure you check all of your alarms, guys. 5 beeps. What's carbon monoxide? It will kill you. And you can't smell it, which is the scary part. Like you would think that it's something you would smell if it can kill you, but nope. It's like I've read stories of people getting like their own generator and they put it in their house and they're like, ah, that's annoying. So they put it in their house and it's fine for maybe like the first couple hours, right? And then they go to bed and then they never wake up. All right, guys, looks like the board's done here. Ooh. Actually feels heavier now. Not bad. So can I hear any reverberations? I still can. But not as bad as some people have reported. You know what? I'm just gonna unplug it because it's annoying. BRB. There we go. I just unplugged the darn thing, took out the batteries as well. We already bought one, so as soon as the stream is done, I'll just set up the new one that I just got. Anyone want a broken carbon monoxide alarm? I can do a giveaway. I'll even sign it. All right, let's see. Let's clean up a bit here. Pog giveaway. Oh, no. Yeah. Lube that thing. Oh man. I feel like it's given it a lot more weight now. It feels a lot sturdier than it did earlier, so that's good. Let's see, okay, I'm just gonna check that the RGB shines through. Because RGB is actually one of the reasons why you buy a board like this. There we go. Looks like my foam did not get in the way of any of the RGB underglow, so that's good. I cut it precisely enough, hooray! Perfect. Okay. That actually looks real good. Does anyone in the audience actually like RGB? Aeon says, in fact, you're buying RGB. The keyboard is an add-on. Yes, I would actually agree with that. I am a big fan of like in-switch RGB, not so much underglow RGB. Zarkis, I'm designing a board with it right now. Very cool, very cool. Alright, before I put keycaps on this, you know, it's sad because this board is definitely built for RGB, but I don't really have keycaps that would appropriately showcase it. I was just gonna put PBT caps on it, but we can do that later. But before I get to doing that, let us talk about some of the beautiful people who make this whole channel possible. In addition to my subscribers and followers such as you guys, I also have a bunch of vendors who have discount codes for me and all that. So, if you guys don't mind, my first sponsor of the week, or of the channel actually, is Zeal PC. You guys have never heard of Zeal PC? Here. Well, great. I'm not able to type in it just yet. Hold on. Let me do this. It's not letting me chat in my own chat. That's odd. Here, let's refresh the page here. Here we go. Hopefully you guys can see this. But my first sponsor is Zeal PC. The links are going to be posted in chat right now. Zeal PC is a keyboard vendor located in Richmond, Canada. He's most famous for having really, really expensive switches, but to his credit, I feel like he is the keyboard vendor who actually made tactile switches a reality in a Cherry MX design. So if you like Zelios, if you like tactility in your switches, please consider him. Coincidentally, my favorite switch of his is actually Helios, and if you guys are noticing this board right in front of me, this is a customer build with silent linears. Securios and Roselios. So if that's something that you guys are interested in, definitely hit up his website. Let's see. My next sponsor is DixieMech. DixieMech is running 2 key sets. One of them is GMK Pono, which should be expiring in the next week or so. Let's see, August 14th. Expiring August 14th. You can purchase the base set for roughly $125. You can purchase a Rama keycap for $56, desk mats for $17. And once again, let me put that into the chat. Right there. His other key set that is on Group Buy is GMK Minimal, which is a black on white key set. Like so. This is the second time that this set is running. As you can see, it is minimal in many ways, and not just the colors, but also the kit size. The kit size, pretty much the base set, is only good for TKL, 65s, and 75s. There is no numpad in this. However, the price drops down to $99.99 by him doing this. If you do want a numpad, that's an additional $35. And as you can see, there are additional kits going for $30. If you want more color than just black and white, $30. Mono for $35. If you use Mac OS like me, That's 20 bucks. And you've got support for split keyboards along with that B key, also for 40 bucks. And if you are in Europe, here we go, you got 55 bucks right there. Yeah, I think this is one of the more popular sets in the community simply because it is cheap and affordable, under $100. Under $100 by a cent, that is. You can get a GMK key set. Keep in mind that because this is a GMK key set, in fact, those last two sets I talked about were both GMK, expect delivery time to be sometime in March or later. See, my next sponsor, who should I do next? Let's do Keebio. Keebio is a fellow QMK collaborator, similar to me and Zark, who's also on chat here. Keebio is better known as Baking Pie or Danny. Let's see, some of his products entail the Iris, the Nyquist, and one of the more popular boards I've seen lately is a 3x3 macro pad with 2 rotary encoders, known as the BDN9. You can buy the kit for about 13 bucks, which I still need to buy after the stream. You will, however, need to purchase a Pro Micro or an Elite C. Completely your choice. And let me put that link in chat once again. That's Keebio. If you use keyword wizardhat, you can get up to 15% off select items. Let's see, what other products? Yeah, I highly recommend the Qfrequency Rev 2 split staggered 65% board. Check it out, guys. So it's only 15 bucks, but of course you need to buy all of your switches and whatnot. SA Olivia not included, obviously. Here we go. I might buy this. I've been wanting a set like this for some time. We'll see. We'll see. All right. Next sponsor is Novelkeys. Novelkeys is selling one of my favorite GMK sets of all time. Let's take a look at his group buy list right here. He is doing GMK Bento round 2. Check it out. I am personally going to go for the white alphas rather than the darker ones. But here we go. Traditional base kit goes for about 125 bucks. Revival base kit, which is the dark colored one, is also 125 bucks. You got salmon novelties. Pretty cute. Pretty cute. These go for about 42. Space bars are 28. Alphas. So these are the alphas with no Japanese sub-legends. These are 70 bucks, which kind of makes it hard because not everyone likes Japanese sub-legends. But GMK Bento is also Japanese themed, so it totally makes sense. What else? Of course, you've got Rama caps available for about 56 bucks each. Pretty expensive. Pretty expensive, but I can see why. Let's see, what else does he have here? He's got SA Skyrider. If you guys like the SA profile, you've got another green set going on right now. For alphas, you can get alphas for roughly 45 bucks, TKL for 85. So roughly the same price as the GMK set these days. Numpad, however, will net you 35 bucks. And you've got all the usual space keys, ortho 40s, ISO, and novelties for 35 bucks. I'm actually not a big fan of the novelties for this set. It's kind of hard to understand it. I don't think the green works very well with it. But if you guys are interested in anything else on Novelkeys, if you use discount code WIZARD, you can get 5% off your entire order. Of course, this does not apply to any group buys like Bento or Skyrider, And unfortunately, it does not apply to pre-orders as well. So keep that in mind when you shop at Novelkeys. Let's see, my next sponsor is Canon Keys. Here we go, Canon Keys, link to be posted on chat as well. There we go, Canon Keys is doing their very own key set. And it's not just their very own key set, but it's a new manufacturer of PBT cherry profile. This is known as the Canon Keys Canon Caps Zero. Let's see. From what I've read about it, it is a completely new manufacturer, so it's not ePBT. So hopefully they deal with a lot of the PBT warpings. That is actually one reason why I've stayed away from PBT cherry, which is ironic because I'm going to be using a PBT cherry cap on this guy later on today. Yeah, but this kit goes for $99.99, and what's the coverage on him? In terms of coverage for this kit, you get a full size right here. So that's TKL 75%, 65%. You have several novelties here for your enter keys, accent arrow keys. The only thing I'm seeing that's not really covered is, okay, I don't know if that's, oh yeah, the only thing I'm not seeing is a 6U spacebar. But not too many people use a 6U spacebar anyway. See, I see Garlic messaging me here. Are you entering bento? Yes, I am. My wife really likes bento, so I'm purchasing the kit for her. Let's see, what else does Canon Keys have? Canon Keys is, I think that is their only group buy going on at the moment. They also have quite a few dust mats here. Super colorful. Kind of a stark contrast from their Canon caps going on right now. For 17 bucks. Are they all 17? Yes, they are all 17 bucks. Awesome. Very cool. Let's see. My next sponsor is Project Keyboard. I've got lots of sponsors on this channel, guys. Project Keyboard. Project Keyboard is, let's see, I guess his website hasn't been completely updated because Sumi is over and done with. He's now doing GMK Dolch, not round 5, but row 5. Look at that. Look at that. Dolch is one of the most popular colorways in the community. And it's been done several times and in different profiles, so I'm glad to see it coming back. Maybe this time I'll buy it, but check it out, guys. I think this is the first time that I've personally seen that Dolch has Hangul legends. That, oh, I believe that is a Rama cap, if I'm not mistaken. See, Sumi is still alive. Ah, okay, awesome. Check that out. Yeah, I think there was a good portion of time in the community where if you walked into a meetup, everyone had Dolch. Everyone had Dolch keycaps. Check it out. It's pretty cool. We'll see. If I have any extra money this month, I might indulge myself. Who knows? Who knows? We'll see. We'll see. So please like and subscribe so I can get extra money to buy this, guys. All right, my next sponsor. My next sponsor is actually located here in Seattle, Washington. This is keyboardlube.com. Keyboardlube.com is actually located here in Seattle, Washington. I believe Zoomwalt actually was asking where to get lube. this is the place to get lube. He currently sells 205G0 for $7 for 3 milliliters. And looks like, last I talked to him, he said he was getting them in. So I assume by the end of the month, it'll be shipped to you. But check that out. You got quite a few options here, all the way till 40 milliliters for $84. That is a lot of lube and also a lot of money. But yes, if you use discount code Merlin, you can get 5% off your entire order. But not only does he sell lube, he also sells Mil-Max sockets, Everglide screw and stabilizers. You get switch films from Desk Keys, printed 3D printed switch opener, and an acrylic lube station, which I actually want to buy. Interesting. This product will only be shipped if we meet our goal of at least 30 by August 31. Cool. I will buy one at the end of the stream because I actually need one of these. How long will 3 milliliters last? Depends on your lubing strategy. Look at all that. For $20, that's not a bad deal. Pretty cool. Okay, I will definitely be buying from this guy. Alright. Thanks guys for letting me talk about some of the wonderful people who make this stream happen. Let's go back to putting keycaps on this keyboard. Boom. Alright, let me get those keycaps. Alright, I was saying earlier that I don't really like PBT because of warpage, but here we go. PBT white on black, or black on white, I mean. There you go. I think this was the first key set I put on my Xeno. I noticed that, I don't know, maybe it's just me, but I've noticed that with lighter linears and PBT, maybe it's because the cap is slightly heavier than like ABS. It's not as pleasant a typing experience for me. There we go. So yeah, let's go populate this guy. Let's populate this guy. You can already see that some of these have slight warping. Just putting it on my table right here. You can see it's slightly bent, but oh well. That your PBT novelty, that your Novelkey sets. Did you buy the OSA one static gauge? Or is this the OSA sleeves, or is this the actual cherry ones that he had? One. No, you got Vaporwave. Ah, okay. Yeah, I was not a big fan of the Vaporwave key set. OSA is actually pretty nice profile. I had my gripes with it, but it has grown on me. Yeah, I've been meaning to try it out, to be honest. Like, I really love how SA profile looks like. But if you guys caught my Thursday stream, I've noticed that over time, just typing on SA, it's not a very good experience for me. Not just how it feels, but I noticed because it's so high, it causes my wrist to like curve up a bit. I've been forced to use like a wrist rest just to type on like SA. Since OSA is very similar to SA, I'm hoping that I won't need to use a wrist rest every time for it. Static Age says, well, you can't see purple for Vaporwave. Yeah. I've got all these ergonomic issues. Oh, that's weird. Guys. When you're putting on keycaps on a board, usually it shouldn't... Can you guys see that move? That doesn't even happen on a KBD75. But on an alt that actually... What the heck? Zoombot says, need to add a weight to it. Yeah. Silly putty is the way to go to actually put on the keyboard. Okay, so one thing I'm concerned about putting anything that's adhesive to a board is I don't know how it will react to the anodization. Some anodization is weaker than others. And given the mass-produced nature of drop boards, I would be very hesitant to do that to a board like this. Page up. Nope, don't need that. Lipstick on a pig. Yeah, I know, right? Better Player says, I'm actually pretty curious about it now. Might try to get my hands on NK65 entry and try it there. Well, right back if you find out. A Better Player subscribed with Twitch Prime. Thank you so much. Thank you for your support, guys. Super key goes right there. Because one reason why I chose white is because I knew that I would have a black keyboard in front of me. Just wanted a little bit more contrast from that. Doo-doo-doo. It actually doesn't sound half bad, to be honest. Zoom Walt says, what if I told you that the first keyboard I'm ever going to build is a prototype that I'm having a factory in China build? Sure. So you want the 5 to go there. Control key. Awesome. 7. It's filling out pretty well, guys. How do you guys feel about having like a mixture of both text and icon modifiers? What do you guys think about that? Better Player says, go for it. Guess I'm wondering if like anyone else does that. It works for select keys maybe if they're mirrored. Ah, I see what you mean. And let's see. Where's my space bar? Okay. Missing my enter key right there. Lagger says, I like icon shift, tab, and enter. Okay. See, here is the part that's always confusing. How to get the right page up, page down, home and end so that they all match up nice. I think that guy can go there. Is that the right profile? That is not the right profile, of course. Let's try this other end key. There we go, much better. Home. The right profile? Yep, that is the correct profile. I just have to find an appropriate page up and an appropriate page down. There we go. Yep, that's a good one. And let's see, which page up should it be? Page up. Yeah, that looks like it. Nope, I was wrong. That's not the right page up. I think the closest one I have is that. Let's just go with that. There we go. That looks fine. Har says, is there a big difference between plate mount and PCB mount stab? They are well tuned. Only have experience with CoStar. Technically speaking, CoStar was heralded as one of the best stabs back in the day just because they were so smooth and they were easy to remove and all that. And people didn't like Cherry until we started clipping them. The biggest difference between them, between PCB mount and screw-in mount, is that you didn't want to pop them off when you were removing all of your keycaps. That's really the biggest difference, to be honest. Like, if you are building a fully PCB mounted board, there's really no reason to use screw-ins. There we go. Check it out, guys. Black on white. Drop Alt. Let's do a few typing tests. Integrated plate. Okay, so we're just going to do a quick test here. Let's take this customer's board, put it elsewhere. I'm trying to think if I've got any yellow switched boards that I can compare this to. Maybe. Hold on. I think my ID80 has yellow switches, and they're both integrated plate. So let's try it out. Okay, let's go plug this guy in first to give you that nice RGB underglow and in-switch effect. Check it out. All right, BRB. Oh, here we go. This is a clue board. I guess it's in the same layout. I'm missing a space bar, so let me look for a space bar here. Who wants to lend me a space bar? KBD67, let me borrow your space bar really quick. Here we go. Both boards are integrated plate. Both boards are yellow switches. To be fair though, the clue board integrated plate is a little more different than the mass drop one. This is a low profile 65% type board. This is a high profile one. Lager says shiny. Yeah, these keycaps are probably older than myself. This is from a Desco board used in pretty much airports, I think. If you guys ever go to United Airlines booth, you'll see that they have Desco boards there, and this is the keycap set off of that. Of course, minus the caps lock key and the colored modifiers here because I couldn't find any. But yeah, these sets are probably, what, 30, 40 years old at this point. Super shiny, especially the backspace and the enter key right there. But here we go. Let's just do a quick typing test comparison between two integrated. Here, let's go lower the music. Let's turn off the music. Turn off the music. There we go. Okay. Let's point my mic down a bit. Which one sounds better to you guys? Both of these have foam as well. Both, man. Yeah. High profile sounds a bit deeper. I can agree with that. I think it's because of the PBT. It's the PBT. These are made out of palm. So if you look at just the backspace. All right, let's do an actual typing test here. Let's plug it in and do a type and test. The bottom has more of a unique sound. Sounds better. Ah. There we go. Let's see what's a good way to do this. Let's do it this way. Let's do, boom, there we go. Sounds like Rain says, so you can see on the top on where the stems are. Okay, no, that is the wrong scene. I do not want that scene. I want, here, let's do what scene do I want here? There we go. That's the scene that I want. Let's see, let's increase the size of that so you guys can all see how I'm doing. There we go. That looks good. White on black. Let's do light. This is typings.gg, by the way, one of my favorite typing test websites. Let's see, Ganaball says, if Drop were to get a better PCB, I think the alt high profile would be killer. I think so as well. If they use a better microcontroller, one with EEPROM, they could actually utilize VIA on this. However, I do have to point out that this is actually one of the few boards in our community that has ESD protection as well. Yeah, I'm like looking at that right now. The white doesn't look that good. Let's pick a different theme. Let's pick Rama theme. What best fits this? I wonder. Lagger says that the light hurts. I know, right? Let's see, let's do something a little darker. Let's do Yuri. There we go. Yeah, let's do Yuri. Yuri's fine. There we go. Oh, yeah. Let's see how fast I can do this. Five-pin support plus VIA plus better trace routing. Yeah, absolutely. Though, to be fair, for a hot swap board, I actually prefer 3-pin support. .148, accuracy of 89%. Here, let's put it up here so it's more comfortable for me. We do it like this. Redo. .142, 90%. Not bad. Yeah, I noticed with like lighter switches, my both my accuracy and my speed tend to go down. But in reality, when I'm like chatting on like Discord and stuff, my actual typing speed is only around probably 85. A lot of people have like asked me, Merlin, do you normally type that fast? I'm like, no, that's just when I'm doing typing tests. Ah! Screwed up already. See, a better player says, drop alt boards only come with 3-pin. Yep. Do you know why? It's because I personally think that if they were to make it 5-pin and have those extra holes in the PCB, their auto routing would not work as effectively. Well, it would not work as effectively as if it does work effectively. You know, it's like if you guys saw like my image of that PCB earlier, it's not routed effectively at all. So I think that if they had extra holes, it wouldn't work. The more it wouldn't work. Ah. Is that your end game? This is my end game? No, it's not. It's actually a customer's board. $159, accuracy 100. Yes. See, Ganaball says, auto routing is the bane of my existence. Oof. Someone paid you to build a pre-built. It's not a pre-built because you still had to put switches in, you still had to lube the switches, and you still had to lube all of the stabilizers. Marsh Kito says, what is the website to type like this? This is typings.gg. Let me put that in chat. It's made by another fellow community member. Rabbit Sense says, hi Merlin, hello to you too. Any other PCB looks like Tokyo subway lines. Yeah, here, let's get rid of that. Sorry, Perpetual. I do not let people post links in chat because some people have abused that. So only mods and myself can post links. If you would like me to check out a link, just hit me up in chat and I'll verify it. Yeah, so I guess people were asking me earlier, what's my impressions on it? This is my first drop alt that I've ever built. The closest thing to the alt that I've ever experienced is the White Fox from Input Club, which some would say drop copied them. But in terms of the high profile alt, I actually really like this. This is not a bad board. Like, is it a key cult? Absolutely not. Is it a Think 6.5? Absolutely not. But if you take it for what it is, it's a mass-produced board. It feels good. It actually does feel good, and I like how it looks. Or maybe I'm just bedazzled by all the RGBs. Who knows? Who knows? The question is $250 a good price for this? I would say no, to be honest. I think this board would be worth it if it was more like probably 180 to 200 bucks, which coincidentally I think is what this originally sold for. So now with all of the price increases, it's not worth it, but when it first came out, I think it was definitely worth it. Gannibal says, just fix the PCB and the board would actually be great. Yeah. Someone like Martin Watt or someone like Gondo Lindrum should make one. Gondo's already very familiar with ARM-based PCBs, so he could probably do it. Martin Watt is still doing Atmega 32U4s. But I don't think either of them have successfully implemented USB hubs. So in order to make a replacement PCB for this, you would need to match all of the existing features. So that's in-switch RGB, underglow RGB, USB hub, 2 USB-C ports. What else would it need? ESD protection and all that. Zark says, I have. Zark, that's the thing. You make all these claims, but it's really hard to see like a real product. I think you definitely have the chops to make it happen. So do it. Do it. Do it and I will buy your boards. See, a better player says, an aftermarket PCB for drop ball would make this board a purchase for me. Cherry black and white. These are EPBT black and white, but it is indeed cherry profile. I wonder if there's something with drop where, like, if you were to make an aftermarket PCB for this, I wonder if drop would come after you. That's probably... That might be a legit reason why no one has tried, because drop does have a reputation for doing that. No, I suppose you could make one. You could make one with like the same case and everything and be like, oh, you know, it just so happens to fit the alt. I never knew that. How lucky am I? You know? That's probably like the only way you could get around it. It's not built for the alt, it's built for my own unique design, but you know, kind of like the poker, just so happens to fit in there. Yeah. Yeah, I think if I could make this board better, I would not do an integrated plate. I would do like a top mount plate. Top mount plate I think would also be cheaper if I'm not mistaken. Zoomwalt says dimensions are not IP, similar to colorway not being IP. There we go, yeah. You could take it on based on that. But to be fair, no one wants to risk that, right? Most PCB designers in our community are basically just one-man shops. You know, they're not like a group of people or sorts. Like, I think the most popular one is Wilba. Actually, I think McLovin is a group of people. I think McLovin, who's based in... I think he's based in Vietnam. I think he's a group of people. So maybe like a group of people would be able to do something about it. Who knows? Yeah. Zoomalt says, if I was into 65 and really liked that, then I would go ahead and fund a PCB. Sure. You know, I'm just really curious. Because you could probably get a PCB, just a regular 65% PCB, and just put one USB port on it. And that would probably line up with this. No problem. Who knows? See, look. If you had the KBD67, whom I borrowed that space bar from, let's see. Let's just put the boards side by side here. As close as we can. Let's lower my lighting so you guys don't get blinded from the silver here. See, look, if you got a KBD67 PCB and you just shifted that USB-C port maybe a little bit to the right, it might fit. It might fit. Who knows? Who knows? The Zoomwalt says, what is Massjob going to sue for? There are no damages if there are no profit. Just sell your PCB at $0 profit. Just release the PCB as an open source. That's true. That's true. If they did something like patent or trademark the PCB mount, yeah. Who knows? Let's see. How many of you guys are watching today? If any of you 61 people have the chops to make a PCB and are willing to make one that's open source so you don't drops ire, feel free to make one. I will gladly test it out for you guys. See, sounds like Rain says, also you can't buy an alt or control without a PCB. That's a good point. Companies try that all the time. Even if they're wrong, it costs you court fees to prove it. Ah, I see. You can buy a case, I think. Their PCBs look so bad. To be fair, though, okay? To be fair, just based on this one sample that I have here, taking this drop alt on its own and comparing it against my KBD67 here, the anodization on this is better than KBD67. So there's that, you know. See, Gannibal says modern art trace routing. Uncool Dude says, actually Drop is now selling an off-white case. Interesting. Yeah. Let me put this space bar back on my KBD67 since I'm actually using it. Yeah, guys, I started using my KBD67 a lot. Ever since I swapped the Yacht Tactile Trash Pandas into Gateron Blacks, I've been using this quite more frequently. But as I said earlier, the drop alt anodization seems to be a lot nicer than KBD fans. KBD fans anodization is also fairly brittle. Since I've owned this board, pretty much since I've owned any KBD fans boards, I've noticed that just nicking it very slightly is enough to damage this finish. I'm not going to attempt any of that on a customer's board without his permission, of course. So in terms of durability, I can't make a judgment call on this, but in terms of looks, this one already looks a lot better. Yeah. So typically after I build a customer's board, it stays with me for an additional week to check for any issues with my build or with any of the switches that I put in. So if you guys tune in for the rest of the week, you will see this board quite frequently. We'll see. Well, it'll either be this guy or the other customer board that I built. One of these two, either the black board or the white on black board, one of these two will be making an appearance on my future streams. See, Uncool Dude says, I wonder if the finish blasting done before ano is partly responsible for the finish on the drop. Maybe? I am not a anodization expert. I'm mainly making judgment calls based on what I can see. Now see, this is another KBD fans board. Like when you look at KBD fans finishing, the anodization almost, like if you look close enough, it almost looks like a really good paint job. Whereas on a drop board, it actually looks like anodization. Uncool Dude says the KBD looks rougher in texture to me. Yeah, that's very true. And that's true on both their KBD 75 and on my KBD 67 and on my Tofu. So if anodization is something that's really important to you, then yeah, go for the drop alt. If you're in the United States, also please consider Cerakoting. Cerakoting is a very popular finish for guns, and lately the community has been noticing that it's also great for keyboards. Alright guys, I'm going to put this keyboard away, and I will be using this for the remainder of my weekend. Alright, as I was saying earlier, I need to go replace this bad boy. We just bought a carbon monoxide alarm to replace this. I think this is a 6 years old at this point, well past its expiration date. So we'll be replacing that as soon as I end this stream. If you guys are interested in seeing any more of my content, definitely tune in tomorrow evening. Tomorrow evening, I'll be doing my group buy news stream in which I talk about all group buys ending and if you guys want to spend more money, definitely tune into that. I do that every Sunday night, 7:30 p.m. PST. Pretty much, I try to cover as much as I can, but I'll always miss something. So at the end of it, I've got like all of you audience members giving me a bunch of tips and all that. Like I think last week, I missed 3 switches and 1 desk mat. So we'll see how I do tomorrow evening. Alright guys, hope you have a good rest of your evening and a good rest of your weekend, and I will see you tomorrow night. Goodbye now.